Hello friends, welcome back to the Craft Castle. Let's make some really cool Valentines. I have some leftover fillable ornaments from Christmas that I don't know what to do with, and I figured out a really neat way to get rid of them. Also, if you scored these at the craft store for 75% off and you're holding on to them, better way to use them than making these gumball machines. Look at how stinking cute they are. So one of these that we're going to create today is going to be a print and cut image. This is what it's going to say. It says, "I choose you, Valentines." It's on the inside of this. So when you take off the dome, that's what you're going to see. And obviously it's filled with some bubble gum. And then all of this glitter cardstock is the stuff that I sell in my shop. No shed, super amazing. And this is glossy on the back. The other version that we're gonna make is all glitter cardstock. So if you do not have a printer or you don't wanna do a print and cut, this is all made with my glitter cardstock. Same thing, sold in my shop, but this is the white glitter cardstock that is on the back. Simple supplies that you're going to need. Obviously, some fillable ornaments. These ones, you can also buy them on Amazon. I bought these at Hobby Lobby on sale for 75% off, but you can also get them on Amazon. I'll link them in the description of this video. You're gonna need individually wrapped candies. I would not suggest doing like actual gumballs that aren't individually wrapped, only because when you put the glue on this, you don't want the gumballs to hit the glue because then it won't be edible. So definitely get some individually wrapped gumballs. I got a huge pack of these at the Dollar Tree. You could also get them off Amazon. You're gonna need some snips. Well, that may be optional. If the fillable ornaments that you have do not have this little tip right here, then you're not gonna need snips or scissors. But if they do have the tip right here, you are going to need this. So it just depends on what type of ornaments you end up getting. So for the print and cut one, I'm gonna be using the koala paper. It's double-sided glossy, which makes it super amazing on the front and on the back. It's both glossy, so we're gonna use some of that. And then obviously you're gonna use some glitter cardstock for this. This is the stuff that I sell in my shop. We have white, lipstick, black, and then a little bit of bubble gum. But those are the four colors you're gonna need. Then I'm gonna be using my precision craft glue for this just to glue down all the stuff. And then in order to put the bulb on the paper, you're going to need this stuff right here. So these are both sold by Super Tight, and with this one, because the nozzle is so big, I always rebottle it into a smaller bottle just so we don't get glue everywhere and it makes for a better project. All right, y'all, let's head over to the computer and then we'll get to designing this and then we'll come back here and assemble. First things first, you're gonna wanna open up a blank window in Design Space. I always like to show you what the finished file is going to look like because then we can just kind of gauge what it's supposed to look like and how our design process is panning out to how I originally designed it. Okay, the very, very first thing that you're going to wanna do is take your globe. You're only gonna want the one half of it because it needs to be fillable. And get a measuring tape or a ruler or something. You're gonna want to take it from one side to the other. It's 3 inches. The ones that I have are 3 inches and it should be 3 inches, but you never know, just to double check. Because the last thing you wanna do is cut a bunch out and then have the wrong size. So with mine, it's exactly 3 inches from one side to the other. And it's gonna be hard to see, but it's gonna be 3 inches from one side to the other. Now, if you get a 4-inch ornament, obviously you're gonna need a 4-inch circle, but I have a 3-inch ornament, so we're gonna use a 3-inch circle. So coming over here into shapes, we're just gonna insert this shape and we're gonna hit a circle. And then I'm gonna change this over into 3 inches at the very top and then just press enter. Okay, with this, then you're gonna want to put this operation and we're gonna do a guide because really we're not gonna use it for too much. We're just gonna use it as a guide. Next thing you're gonna wanna do is you're going to go into images and we're gonna put in Gumball Machine. The one that I like most is this one right here. And actually I'm going to exit out of myself just so we can see what we're doing here. And then I'm gonna do add to canvas. We're gonna be using a lot of this right here, so it'd probably just be easier if I just go away. See, it's the same one right here. Okay, making sure that this lock is locked up top. We're just gonna make this a little bit smaller. Okay, deleted the original one. Okay, we need to work on the top and bottom portion of this. So I always like to keep what I have inserted to the right, just so if I mess up, I don't have to look for the project again. And I'm gonna duplicate, so Command D. Going back over into the circle that we have inserted, we're gonna create an offset. So coming over here into offset, and then whatever is this is going to be your circle dome, right? The outline is going to be the circle dome. We're going to need to have some sort of like something for it to glue onto. So you are going to need an offset for this. You can make it any width you want. However, I would not go super small, like 0.0. I would not do this just because it would be hard to line up. The thickness of the plastic might carry over onto, on the outside of that circle, and then your candies are going to fall out. It's just not going to look cute. So you're going to want to make this circle just a little bit bigger into where then you have a little bit of wiggle room. So for me, I'm going to do, let's just make this even, and I'll do 0.2 and then just press apply. Okay, this is also going to be an outline. So or a guide. So just come up here into operation and do basic. And then I'm going to change this into white just because that's what I'm going to be using later. Then going back over into our Gumball Machine that we have duplicated. I'm only going to be using the red portion of this. So I'm just going to click that red portion and I'm going to duplicate that. So Command D. And then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to delete that. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this one more time, Command D, because I'm going to need a top portion and a bottom portion to this. So going back over into the first one, I'm going to go down here into contour and see how this box pops up. I only want to keep the top portion. So I am going to click on everything that's on the bottom portion. And I wish that Cricut Design Space would show you like that it's disappearing. You can kind of see down here that it's gone. If I click this bottom one, now it's completely gone. I wish they would show you that, but they don't. But just click everything that you do not want. And then when you're done, just click out of that. Going back over into the bottom, we're going to do the same thing. Go down here into contour. And now I only want this bottom portion. So I'm going to click these tops. I'm also going to click these gumballs. You can tell in the original design, I also got rid of the smiley face. So I'm going to also click that circle, and then this smiley face. And then just click out of that. So this is what you're left with. And now that I look at my design further, I actually got rid of this top right here and then this bottom piece. So going back over into contour, you can click that and then that. Click out of it, and now you have what I had originally. Okay, so I'm just gonna dry fit these in. I know that sounds really weird, but all we're doing is just making sure that it fits on in, and then the sizing is correct, like we're eyeballing it. I'm gonna zoom on in, and surprisingly, I really liked how this all fits without having to resize it. But really what you're wanting is just to bump this up just a little bit, and then we are really working with this inside pink circle. I know that sounds really confusing, but that's really what we're looking for is, does it look good with this inside pink circle? This bottom portion, this red is like hanging over a lot. So I'm just going to shrink this down just a little bit and then move this up. Okay, so you see how now this red right here kind of lines up with the pink circle. I'll zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. But you see how it lines up really well with the pink circle. When we cut this out, it's going to look like the gumball circle is right on top of the red portion, and that's what you're looking for. With the top, however, the top is a top, so it's going to sit on top of the circle. So I do want it to be a little bit bigger than the outside portion of the circle, just so it actually looks like a top. Okay, when you have this done, all I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this, go into align, and then center. So the bottom one was completely centered, the top was not. You want to make sure that it's centered because nothing like a bad centered project. Okay, before I go any further in doing any type of slicing or anything like that, I'm going to click on my bottom red and I'm going to create another offset. So offset 0.2 is what we originally did for the circle. Generally, I like to keep my offsets all the same, but if you notice, this offset right here and this offset right here seems to be very different. The bottom one seems to be a lot wider than the top. So then you're just going to use your slider button and eyeball it. You don't necessarily have to have it the same width, but I do like to try and keep it the same width. Again, because the numbers, for some reason, the numbers stay the same, but the offset looks a little different. That's kind of a bummer, but we're just going to keep it. So then we're just going to press apply. And then going back up to the top, we're going to do the same thing. So offset that box is in the way. So let me just drag this over just a little bit. And this seems to be all right as well as the top. It seems to be the same as what the top is. So I like that. I'm going to press apply. Okay, we're going to take this offset, press shift on your keyboard and that black offset, and we're just going to send it to the back for right now. Then what you're going to want to do is take this circle right here and we're going to duplicate that. I'm going to bring this over into my design. And then just to make sure that it's centered on my board, I'm going to select, just do it like this, and you're only selecting the 3 circles. And then do a line and then center. And that makes sure that that one circle that we created is still evenly aligned with your entire project. I'm going to come up here into guide and change this over into basic. And then with this still highlighted, I am going to select my top red and I'm going to come down here and press slice. I am going to just scroll up on my screen, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to select and delete this portion right here. So it's going to be that and that. There should be 2 of them. What you're going to be left with is this portion that is missing. Okay, I'm going to select that now sliced circle that's really weird, and I'm going to go down to the bottom portion of my Gumball Machine, and then I'm going to press slice. Okay, this time I'm going to not only delete the pieces that I don't need, but also this circle. So just select that circle and the 2 pieces. Okay, that's what's left here. Now, do you see this like small little piece right here? I don't really like the way that that's going to end up looking. So I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. Making that circle, Command D, which is duplicate. I'm going to drag this over into my project board, selecting just the circles, align and then center. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to go into shapes and I'm going to insert a square. It doesn't matter if it's rounded or not. And I'm going to make this square a little bit bigger than this rectangle that's going on here. There we go. Selecting the square and that top circle that we created, and we're going to slice it again. And then I'm going to delete the sliced, this slice, and then I'm also going to delete this outline, keeping this bottom portion. I'm going to select the bottom of that red, and I'm going to do combined and then weld. So you see how now it's gone? That's exactly what we were looking for. And actually in my original design, we had a hole here, right? This thing at the very bottom it's not. If you go over into my original design, that's right here, you can see how the backer piece is completely enclosed right here. So all I'm going to do is go back over into the one that we're working on, pressing shapes, and then I'm going to do an oblong. I'm going to readjust this to where it just kind of sits back. There we go. The beauty of creating your own SVG files is you can make it look exactly the way you want it to look. So you don't necessarily have to be perfect to mine because you're making your own. So selecting that oblong, and then we're going to find this bottom offset. So come down here, we're going to scroll all the way down, and we found it right here. So selecting that oblong, shift on your keyboard and then click on the offset. We're going to do combine and then weld. It's going to bring it to the top. So select that and bring it to the back, send it to the back. We are essentially halfway through in the design process of this. It has been that quick. So selecting your back offset, so shift on your keyboard and then select the bottom portion, the top portion, and we're going to do that offset circle. We're going to do combine and then weld. So now this is going to be your backer piece, and we're going to create this all in white, and we're going to arrange this to the back. The top portion of this and the bottom portion of this, I'm going to make this red. So I'm going to change that over into red. Okay, then we need a cute little gumball. We're going to go into shapes, and then I'm just going to add in a circle and make it any size that you want. And I'm going to make this pink. Okay, going back over into what we inserted originally. Do you see this little flipper thing? Because as I was sitting here designing it, I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like it's missing something right here. And in an actual gumball machine, you do have one of those like flippers or whatever you call it. But when we cut this, it's going to be kind of small. And this right here has some really small pieces. And I didn't like the way that it looked. So I'm going to come back over here into images. And I'm going to do Gumball Machine again. And all I'm looking at is the little flipper thing. So that's really small. This is just a circle. These ones kind of look like they're gonna have little pieces. Like if you look at this thing, it has like 3 little pieces. So if I scroll on up, do you see this one right here? I like that one. That one looks cute. So I'm gonna select that and add to canvas. I'm gonna drag this down just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna ungroup this. So right click and press ungroup. And I'm gonna delete everything but this right here. So I'm just gonna drag this up and delete the rest because I don't need anything else from here. And I'm gonna click on that and make that black. Drag this up, and then you can resize this to any size that you want. Now that we have everything in here, I mean, my Gumball Machine looks like the original Gumball Machine. I am just gonna delete that. Okay, if you wanted to stop here and only do glitter cardstock, which is the first example that I had shown you, all you need to do now is just delete this guide that's right here and then cut this. That's all you need to do. So technically you have a finished Valentine's Day project. If you wanted to do a print and cut, which is what I'm doing for this one right here, keeping the guide that's in here because that's going to be really important, we're just going to add in a text box, and I'm going to do the I choose you, coming up over here into fonts, and then this box will pop up. Because I've already created this before, I'm gonna go over here into recents, and the recent ones that I've used are all gonna pop up. I'm just gonna choose the ones that I've done and then make this smaller. Okay, doing the same thing with my next row. I'm just gonna add in a text. There we go. And I did change over my font for that, so I'm just gonna select that font. And it's going to pop up here to my recents, and I'm just going to click that and then resize this to where it all lines up together and make this smaller. Now, if you wanted to, you could also do a third line that said from whoever. I'm just going to leave it. I personally, whenever I do Valentine's Day, Valentine's gifts for my kids to give to their class, I like to just do the wording and then have them sign their name. So when I assemble these with my kids, I'm just going to have my little guy put in his name down here. Okay, I'm going to change this over into a print and cut file. So do Operation, Print Then Cut. See how it got less bold? That's perfect. And then I'm going to change this over into red. Click out of that. Go back over into my I Choose You. And we're going to change this over into Print Then Cut. And then we're going to highlight the color, and I'm going to do pink for that. Okay, selecting both of your Valentine and the I Choose You, I'm going to align this to the center, and then we're going to Command G. We're going to group this. So now it's going to be one whole thing. This is where the guide comes into play. We're going to select the font that you have, and then we're going to select that guide, and we're going to come up here to align and then align horizontally. If you wanted to leave room for your kid to sign, I wouldn't do it completely in the center. But if you are not wanting that signature in there, do align and then center. And it's going to put it right in the center, which is so important for this guide. I am going to leave this at sort of at the top of my project, just so the little guy can put his signature down at the bottom. Drag this up just a little bit. You're going to want to keep it inside of the dome. If you put it like this, and this is where our dome is going to be placed, the eye is going to be on the outside and it's going to look funny. So you're going to want to keep it inside that circle. So Command Z, and it's completely in the center. Okay, I'm going to delete this because we don't need that. And I'm going to delete this circle because we don't need that as well. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. If you have ever done a print and cut project and you come over here into Make It, and this is what you're left with, is like, wait a minute, if you go and cut this out, it's going to want to cut just all of these small little lines out. And then over here, you have your Gumball Machine, and you're like, wait a minute, I wanted the letters to print on my Gumball Machine because we missed a step. Go over here into Cancel. We are going to select just the white Gumball Machine and our lettering. So I'm just going to drag my mouse over, and I'm going to select just the Gumball Machine and the lettering, and I'm going to come down here to flatten. Okay, there's that. And then when you come over here and to Make It, now it's going to cut out your Gumball Machine and print out the I Choose You Valentines. So this is your finished Valentine. We have a print and cut that needs to be printed on the white, and then we have the black, red, and pink. Now, if you only wanted one Valentine's, you can go ahead and cut this. The cool thing is this project copies. If you wanted to, you could create multiples. You can come up into here and then press 2 and apply. And see how it automatically puts the 2 on the page? And if you come up down here, you have multiples right here. I absolutely love this feature. Okay, I am going to only create one. So I'm going to do my 1 and then go back to apply. And then I'm going to go ahead and press continue and then cut this out. Cut yours all out and then come back to me and we'll assemble this together. Now that you have all of your pieces cut, we can assemble this. I'm going to have 2 sets of everything because we did the printing cut and the regular. And you're just going to take your snips. Now, if you have this thing, you're going to want to snip just the top portion off. I'm going to get really close to it, as close as possible. There we go. Doing the same thing with the other one. Getting as close as possible and making it flush. Now, if it is still a little bit jagged, you could do like a little sanding block and make this a little flatter. Okay, now just taking some of my craft glue. I like the Precision Craft Glue. It has a really fine needle to it, so we're not going to get glue in places that we don't want. This is what I call dry fitting, where I just set everything down in its place so I can kind of gauge where I'm supposed to be gluing this stuff at. Not really worried about these 2 black pieces because they're going to go on top of my red. The other thing you want to keep in mind is that place that you cut off, I like to put it on the side. I don't like to put it directly on top of where I'm going to glue my dome to, just because it'll get in the way of where you're gluing. So I'm just going to add my dome in here. No glue, just dry fitting. Putting that down in about to where I think the center is. Okay? Then I'm going to lift up just my bottom portion. Use a little bit of glue. A little bit of glue goes a long way with this glue. So I'm just going to do a line around. Holding down the dome, I'm going to just make this snug, making sure that it's pretty much even on both sides because we did do an offset that was even. So making sure it's pretty even. Flipping this over. There we go. Just doing a little line. Another little line for the next piece and then going over. Okay. For the gumball, I'm just going to place a little dab of glue right in the center of this. I'm going to use my small little pick and up tool. I'm just going to pick it up and set it down. Place it on there. Okay, going up to the top, doing the same thing. I'm just going to pick up this one, just do a little line of glue. Holding down my bulb, I'm just going to glue this tight to the bulb. Because you did a little bit of glue, this is going to just come right off. We don't want to glue the bulb down because we need some candy in there, right? Okay, and this is going to be another small piece, so I'm just going to add a dot of glue. Using my pickup tool, I'm going to pick this up and place this down. There we go. So we got this one done. Let this dry for right now. Add your dome into the center, doing the same thing we did before. We're going to add some glue. This time, because I know pretty much where I'm going to need that glue, I'm just going to add my glue to my white cardstock right on top. Use my pick it up tool. I'm going to place it on there. Doing the same thing with the pink. Dab of glue. Place the gumball. Okay, I'm going to pick this up, putting it tight to the dome, adding a dot of glue. We're going to pick this up. Okay, now we just need to add the black center. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue there, using my pickup tool, and I'm just going to place this wherever, right in the center. This thing is super cool. It picks up the small little pieces like a breeze. Now that we have that done, the 3-inch circles, I felt like the 3 pieces of gumballs or pieces of gum work the best. I just kind of stack them like this. Oh, before we do this, if you chose the print and cut version, before you add in the dome, you're going to want to do the signature at the bottom right here, because once you glue this on, you're not going to want to remove it because it's going to ruin the Valentine. So after you get the signature, then proceed with this next step. I like to do the 3 just like this and kind of stack them right in the middle. After I got done with it, you could add more into these, but I think 3 was just easier to add in the dome to. Okay, now that we have that all stacked in there, you're going to want to use this all-purpose silicone glue. I like the fact that it dries clear. So you can see with this right here, I use the same glue. I use a pretty decent amount of glue and you can't see where any of that glue is. Perfect. It's a rubber cement, but it dries super clear. And all you want to do is take a very thin line and put it on the edge of your ball. You don't want a whole lot of glue because you don't want the glue to be messy and dry in places you don't need it. But you just want to go around the entire rim of your bulb. Okay. Then with that, you're going to want to turn this around, and with your gumballs nicely stacked, you're going to want to place this right inside. There we go. Just like that. And then just press down. Okay, when you are done with that, if you see that there is a little bit of glue that's like coming out the sides right here, you can just take your nail and rub it off. You want to do this when it's still wet though. And I don't know if you could have seen it before, but there was just a little bit of glue that was coming out. We're just going to wipe it off with a clean nail. I'm going to come over here to this side, and there's going to just be a little bit of glue that's like seeping out right here. I'm just going to take my nail and rub it off. And now it's gone. Okay, set that over to the side. Okay, doing the same thing, stacking these. And then with these, you're going to want to, if your fingers are dirty with this glue, all you have to do is just rub your fingers together and the glue just peels right off so it's not messy. And you don't want to be doing dirty hands with these clear globes because you're going to be able to see all the dirt. Adding a little bit more glue just on the rim. And now we're just going to place it down in there. Pressing down, making sure it's nice and flat. So you're going to want to let these dry flat just like this. After you push it down, you shouldn't have to be pressing on them anymore, but you're going to want to let them dry. It generally takes about an hour to dry, but just let them dry into where like you can pick it up. This has been drying for like 8 hours now, so it's definitely stuck on there nice and tight. But there you have it, 2 different types of Valentine's Day. Super cute idea using leftover items that you probably still have from Christmas crafts. All right, y'all, I sure hope I inspired you to make, and I will see you later.